get my screen shared here. Let's take a look at Tesla. Got Tesla today. Earnings after hours. Let's see. Sweet. Hopefully that's working. Maybe. Cool. Yeah, so just pulled up the GEX heat map of Tesla here. Some interesting stuff going on that I saw this morning. This 450 strike up here for Friday. It's getting hit heavy with volume. Not sure if we've tested out the heat maps yet for earnings calls and see how reliable they are for to see what earnings are going to happen. But I don't know. Looking at this, I'm not an expert. Zach's kind of the expert with the heat maps, but it kind of looks like Tesla maybe could have a move up. I know I saw in the chat earlier. I don't remember exactly who pointed it out. I think it was Works was talking about. He was reading something about maybe the first Tesla earnings call strictly focused on AI and FSD robotaxi versus cars, which I think that's kind of been the theme for a while now, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Welcome in, Seba. Throw some stuff in the chat. Questions, things you want to pull up here. Just looking at some heat maps here, and I'm going to make a few trades and kind of go over a few things live here. We can take a look at some charts as well, whatever you guys want to take a look at. If anyone wants to join the stage and talk, you can raise your hand in the top right. I don't know if anyone else is going to be joining us. I will send an announcement out. I know Zach's been ill the last couple of days. And I'm not sure if Lion was available today or not. Let's see. Let me just throw an announcement out quick. How's everyone's day going? Any trades today? Throw them in the chat if you got any trades today. Any bad trades, things we got to take a look at. Throw them in the chat. All right, we've got a raised hand here. Yep, well, I'll get you in here. Try harder. You are now a speaker.
Hello, what's going on, everybody?
Hey, welcome.
Thank you for giving me the time. Yeah, man. Just wanted to hop on in here. I've missed the past couple ones, so I was like, I'm around today. I was like, let me get up in here. I love doing these things, but today should be interesting. We got Jerome Powell. I think they just dropped. Actually, it's 2 o'clock, so I believe the decision was made. I'm gonna assume, just off the top of my head, no cut. Let's see. Unchanged, kind of just as expected. I think the bigger thing, of course, as everyone's eyeing down on, is he comes out with this purple tide. But in all reality, is just like what his viewpoint and outlook is for the rest of the year. I mean, we know he's out in May. He's going to stay on the board, but ultimately the market's just looking to see how many rate cuts are we going to get this year, and they're trying to price that in. So as we saw in the rhetoric of Jerome Powell last month, he took more of a dovish stance, which was kind of surprising, I'd say, and I think we had an initial market rally off that. So you kind of just want to see that rhetoric kind of continue and lead towards, hey, instead of, I think the outlook was 1 or 2 cuts this year, maybe, potentially starting to point towards three to see the market pop back up, but we're kind of just stuck at that like 695 level. Yeah, I mean, should be interesting. What's that? I think it's at 2:30 Eastern, so we got a little bit more time till then. But yeah, man, I know I always talk about it and bitch and moan, but Hood's always at the, the center focal point of me, at least for right now. And it's sitting at this 200 simple moving average on the daily, and it's been a distraught couple months. But if you're an option seller, I'm happy I got into this, and I was happy I was able to connect with you, Hertzy, and the rest of the community here, because during these downturns and chop, you can you can make a decent premium and either lower your cost average or put that additional surplus of money towards other assets. And it's been a real help. And I know in the beginning, you and Jack, especially, or Zach, sorry, not Jack, Zach, especially, were helping me kind of just figure out the realms because I was pretty new to option selling. And yeah, I mean, I'm grateful because I know I had a time back in like I think it was like mid-December where I just opened these CCs and then hood popped initially. I'm like, fuck, man, I'm down like $1,000 on these covered calls. I just opened these. This is exactly the opposite of what I expected. And then, you guys kind of just helped me understand, like you said, intrinsic versus extrinsic value. Kind of understand, like, say, for example, you get a pop, your expiration's not for another month, you know, you still have time. There's going to be that data decay over time. And if you do it properly, you could really make it work. Just wanted to thank you once again. And yeah, that's all I got for now.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for coming on and chatting. Uh, we appreciate you being here, and glad you're enjoying the community, finding some help in it. Uh, See, like, this is how busy I've been this morning. I didn't even realize there was FOMC today. So thanks for putting that on my radar. I've got S&P pulled up here, and then I don't know, is Jerome talking right now?
No, I believe it's at 2:30 Eastern, so another about 27 minutes, give or take.
Yeah, copy that. Well, we can maybe try to get that pulled up, tune in live here. I can get that streamed here, possibly via the interweb for you guys here in about half hour. Um, but yeah, sweet man. I'm glad things are going well. I'm also got some dough in the hood as well. So I've been, I think, I don't know. I think my cost basis is still under 20 bucks, so I'm not sweating it too much. But yeah, it is definitely hard to see it go from 150 down to almost 100 bucks. But overall, we're still looking pretty good on that.
Yeah, 100%. I think the number one major concern, especially because, like you mentioned, you've been in hood for a while. I've been in hood since August of 2024 as well. So like around that sub 20 cost average, 20 cost average is, we dealt with this during the April uh, downturn where, hood went from, I think it was like 66 to 69 down all the way to 29 in a month and a half. And honestly, that made me shit my pants for a little bit, but I held through and added more, and it paid off. I think the number one thing that you hate to see right now is you've got the market sitting at all-time highs, and you've got hood 33% off the all-time highs. So clearly there's just not money rotating there. But just like all other sectors, and when you get these certain downturns, and especially if you have conviction, you've got to be able to stomach it. If especially us having a low cost average, it's something that's more manageable than say you bought your initial shares at 120, 130, 140, etc. But yeah, man. What was I gonna say? Just just have the. I was gonna use iron as an example, actually. I think Hertz, you are in iron as well, if I'm not mistaken.
No, I've
No.
wheeled it in the past.
Uh-huh.
I wheeled it before it was cool, if that makes sense. And then
Fair enough.
I kind of missed that boat, but you want to take a look at it? I can pull it up.
Yeah, sure. I mean, like personally, I found it in the mid 20s before the initial run last year into the fall, and had a good amount of shares, rode it all the way up, trimmed a little bit, held the main share count, and then rode it all the way back down from 70. What's the high at? Like 76, and rode it all the way back down to 33. And you're like, fuck, man, what did I just do to myself? But honestly, it looks better now than it did before, so it's just one of those things where it's kind of keeping my head up straight with hood, where it's like, money rotates all the time. So eventually the ball will get rolling again and money will come back in the hood. We know this isn't a dying company. If anything, it's in the growth stage of it, its cycle. And there's a lot of concerns out there where people saying, stage three top, this and that. And look, I love technical analysis. It's one of the forefronts of my all analysis, but you got to include fundamentals in there. You got to, have some observational analysis in there as well, where this company isn't a declining business. Say, for example, you look at like Chegg or, it's the first thing that come to mind, or like pins. Like these are dying, like who the hell uses pins nowadays? I saw a post saying, buy hymns, or pins and hymns. But, it's kind of just like knowing what you own, I guess, in a way.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I know the main thing with Hood was it was putting up crazy numbers, metrics, the monthly metrics. They kind of slowed down the craziness, and also I think just crypto in general is kind of hurting it because it does have some ties to the old crypto markets, which have been not so great. So that's kind of what I'm seeing with Hood. Not too worried about it personally. Just gonna keep slinging covered calls on my shares for now.
Yeah, same over here, dude. And then switching over to Rocket Lab, I just saw a recent post where, well, two recent posts. One, allegedly, SpaceX is planning on hiring in June of this year, which will be huge. And then two, that the IPO is not no longer projected at 1 trillion, but 1.4 trillion. And what does that mean for Rocket Lab? Because my perspective was if SpaceX is going to IPO at $1 trillion, Rocket Lab is a $100+ billion company at that point. I mean, just with there's no doubt there, in my opinion. We did have that tank. Was it an explosion, if I'm not mistaken? But there was a malfunction with one of the tanks in one of their recent launches. So it's going to be interesting to see with the next earnings coming up, what they say regarding that, and if there's any delays for the Neuron project.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I can kind of walk through some of that stuff that you just brought up. I'm pretty heavy in the old Rocket Lab. I'm gonna pull up here a post that I made kind of right when that SpaceX IPO news came out. Give me just a second. Um, but yeah, other than that, with your concerns of the Neutron, the tank that blew up, um, that's all just part of normal testing, just stress testing. That's fairly normal. They're going to try to push the limits and see what that material can handle. And it's a stress test essentially. So it's kind of good to see that they're figuring that out before they're actually launching, in my opinion. Obviously, people looking in, Wall Street nerds that don't have any understanding about rocket companies, they're getting a little bit bearish just from that news, that headline that came out last week. I'll share with you this post about SpaceX in light of going public here. Let me just get that swapped over.
Yeah, you're 100% right on that. It's more of like the Wall Street short-term look, where they're focusing on a very small scale. And my analogy for this was, I don't know if you remember, 2 summers ago, we had a CrowdStrike and the international outage, which delayed a lot of flights and a lot of there was a lot of outages for what they support, I guess, online services. And CrowdStrike, I think the stock nuked damn near 50% that summer. It was insane. It was Yeah, it was the summer of 2024. I went from 380 all the way down to 200 bucks. And I ran into an individual who actually worked in the cybersecurity space at the beach one day, and he tells me, and it's the same thing as you just mentioned with Rocket Lab, where you want these, I guess you could call them failures, to happen early on or in the development process, because that's actually how you grow as a company and as a business. Where, for example, like you just said, if this happened when the actual launch was occurring, that'd be catastrophic. Now in the testing stage, they're able to figure out, like you said, push it to the limits, see what went wrong, and adapt and adjust from there and become even better. So, I look, if they want to give us lower prices for Rocket Lab, be my guest. I'll be buying the dip.
Yeah, absolutely. Me as well, brother. Just a quick summary. I've got this post pulled up. I know you guys can all read, I hope, because you guys are smart enough to join us here today and talk shop. I know you guys can all read, but pretty much what this summarized with that IPO, kind of a double-edged sword perspective I see when this IPO SpaceX actually comes to fruition. Uh, Short term, likely some money flowing out of Rocket Lab into the SpaceX IPO, into SpaceX. Over a longer term, the other sharper side of this sword is going to be just that validation that space and the industry as a whole is a huge market, and there's a lot of upside potential with that and ETF creations, things like that. I think that it's going to be more of a positive thing than a negative thing. Maybe some pain in the short term when that happens, but long term, I think it's going to really be great for the industry as a whole. Not only for Rocket Lab, this is also going to probably help out ASTS, Firefly, a lot of those other space companies as well. Welcome in, everyone. If you just joined, if you got questions, throw them in the chat. If you want to speak, raise your hand. Take a look here. I'm going to do a couple trades here live here in a second. I've got to get some EOSE calls put on here. I just saw they're up pretty good today. Let me actually pull that up and see what we're looking at for EOSE. Take a quick look at the old Charteroni. Looks like it's pushing 16.5. What is it? Almost up 10% on the day. Cool. So not a big TA guy when it comes to selling options, so I'm just going to run you guys through kind of my little quick rules of thumb. As you can see, it's getting a pretty good push here right now. Let's see if we can get filled on something. Without even looking at the options chain or anything, I'm going to be probably around that $18 to $20 strike on this. It's where I've been sitting. I think I have one out in March for 20 or 22 bucks already on one of my lots. I want to get another lot filled here in one of my accounts that I'm going to pull up here shortly. Let's take a look now at the heat maps. Now that we took just a brief look at the chart, take a look at the heat maps for EOSE. I'll get that pulled up. And then we'll take a look at the order flow next as well. Just kind of basic things I'm looking at here. So as you can see, not a ton going on right now. Far out, February 20th, I don't know what that is, maybe an earnings date or just where a decent amount of money is put for the $20 strike. Like I said, I already knew that's kind of where I want to be, is 18 to 20. So if we're looking for next week, it looks like 18 is going to be our big node there. It's probably where I want to be, maybe 18.5, go right above that. We'll kind of see what the premium's looking like, what the deltas, and kind of figure out what our return on capital will be. We'll throw that into the queue quick as well. Next thing I'll take a look at is order flow screeners. Let's see if we can pull up and see if there's any big money going into EOSE right now today. We're going to look up cash secured puts, throw the ticker in here, and we'll adjust this down to like 10,000 so we can get a few more candidates. That's still pretty low. We'll go down to 5 just to see. There we go. That looks a little bit better. And let's get me out of the way. Sorry, guys. New tech here. I'm trying to figure all this shit out. If you guys got questions, anything, comments, concerns, throw them in the chat. If you want to speak, raise your hand, like I said. All right, so what I'm looking at here, EOSE today. Let's see, where's this big boy at? Oh, this is puts. Excuse me. We're looking to sell calls. Let me get that out of the way. We're going to look up covered calls on EOSE. If you guys want me to look up anything else, if you guys are looking to look at some things, make some trades, let me know. I'm happy to do so. We'll activate this. There we go. That looks a lot better. A lot better.
Hertz, I was just curious, is there anything that you're eyeing specifically for this year, as in like new interest in certain names, or are you kind of just sticking with, what we've got already?
Um, yeah, I'm always looking at new names. As you know, my strategy is a little bit different from like Zach or Lion. Um, they're doing a lot of just aggressive wheels, just premium in and out. I don't, I don't know exactly about Lion. I know Zach for sure. He's just aggressive wheeling. He's looking to get his shares taken away. He's looking to get assigned. He's just premium. Um, focused pretty much. I'm kind of a hybrid, so I like to sit on high conviction companies and essentially sell options on them to reduce my cost basis to zero, also known as my shares are basically free at that point. So that's kind of what I do. I also do a lot of just wheeling and premium stuff on the side. Um, some tickers just in the recent past couple of weeks I've been kind of dabbling in is RCAT, um, which is like Red Cat. They do drone stuff out of Puerto Rico. They're up a lot this year, like I think 80% already since the beginning of 2026. Um, Tech Robotics, RR, I played that, bought a few hundred shares, have calls on that. They were up like 45% yesterday. It was kind of stupid. Anyways, rolled those. I'm trying to think of what else I've been eyeing, new names wise. Um, I don't know, not a lot right now. Just kind of wheeling and dealing on the stuff that I got right now. You'll kind of see here shortly. I'll probably pull up the Robinhood account here in a few minutes because I want to get this EOSE trade in here before Jerome starts saying a bunch of crap. Anyways, but just taking a look at this order flow, just trying to see where people are getting putting their money. Let's sort this by premium. So yeah, it looks like the big bucks $20 strike for February, $20 strike for March, 18 for March, 30 for March. That's pretty far out. I haven't seen 30 yet. A lot in going into those. Um, Anything more near term? Let's see. Next week would be February 6th. That's probably want to be. I want to be. I already have some long-term stuff on this for covered calls. Probably want to be more towards February 6th or math is math in here. What's the next? The 13th. Um, 17, 5, 18, 17, 5, 20. All right, we'll just kind of see what they'll give us here. Um, Let me get that pulled up here. Give me a second. Stand by. Get the old hood account rocking and rolling. Where is ELSE? All right, perfect. Load, load, load. Maybe. Sweet. Got this pulled up here. Hopefully all this technology is working. I don't know. We'll figure it out at the end. I haven't heard any complaints yet in the chat. We've got one chat here. Seb is asking about SoFi earnings for this Friday. We'll take a look at SoFi. I can pull up order flow and see and heat maps. I am no longer in SoFi. I got all my shares below 5. I sold them all at like 20, between 20 and 25. And I had wheeled the piss out of it. I think I was negative $5 on my cost basis. And I pretty much said I've had enough with the finance sector and I consolidated all that into Hood. Um, I don't know. I just didn't love SoFi's premiums, to be honest. They kind of sucked, but made a lot of money with it. No longer in it. Maybe back in it if the premiums and volatility get a little bit better for just wheeling. But um, we'll see. We'll pull that up and look. Obviously, Subba, you've got some shares in it, or you calls, puts. What do you got? We can take a look here shortly. Let me get this EOSE trade done here quickly. I'll take a look at the options chain. Yeah, probably want to go out February 6th on this guy. Yeah, 1865, 2030. Maybe I'll go right around a 19. What kind of delta are we looking at there? Yeah, right about 0.25. Let's see if we can do some math on that one quick. It's paying 0.46, maybe. Pretty spready on the bid and ask. See if we can get filled. And we need to sell a call. That would help. was wondering why that bid and ask was so weird with me putting it all the way at the top, why it was um, gonna fill me at that top of the spread. That would make sense. It's right if be better if I hit the right buttons. Yeah, that looks a little more like what it should look like. All right. Just doing one here, boys. Just nice and light. Let's see if we can get filled at like 40. We'll bump it up to 42. We'll be a prick for a tick here. All right. Let's see what happens. Pending. Cool. Well, as we wait, let's run that through the calculator and then we'll get to the chat here. Let's see what we got going on. Cents 2 cents cautiously bullish on SoFi. Seba's got 22.32s for April. I would imagine those are a strangle. Is that 22 puts, $32 calls? Or are those both calls? I don't even know what SoFi's at these days. I can look it up here in a second. Let's see. Let's just do some math on that real quick. Get my ugly face out of the way. All right, that was what, a $19 strike? See, I'm already forgetting all this stuff. Yeah, 19 for 2.6. So we'll 2.6 here. 19 strike. Option price, we were trying to get filled at 42. Yeah, see, we can see here, not bad there on EOSE. 2.2% right away ROR on the capital for the shares, which my collateral was 100 shares because it was a covered call. Annualized rate of return right about 90%. So it's a little aggressive, but that's the name of the game, especially with EOSE, really volatile. Um, but yeah, we'll see if we can get that filled. Might have to bump it down here. Let's see if we refresh, if we got any luck. Maybe. No, still pending. Might have to bump it down a couple cents here just to get it filled. Yeah, we'll replace that. Let's go for 38, 39. We'll see what we can do. Let's go 38. Medium fill. And we shall wait on that. Cool. Let's take a look at SoFi. Take a look at the heat maps first. And then we can go over and see where some of the bigger money is. Looks like it's a short strangle, $22 put, $32 call. Copy that. All right. SoFi, big node here at 25. Obviously, that's kind of an emotional number. It's every about 25 even numbers. And earnings are when? When did we say? This Friday. So that is the 30th. Okay. Um, so yeah, kind of a lot right at that $25 mark, a little bit up here, above that 28, 26.5, down below 24, 24.5, 23. Take a look at order flow here on it. The old SoFi. take a look where the calls are being put out for it here, just to see. Anyone know what's SoFi at right now? Someone throw it out in the chat so I don't have to swap over and take a look myself. It'd be a lot easier. If anyone's got that pulled up, just throw that in the chat. Exact number. I know it's changing, but 24.96. Cool. Appreciate you. Let's look at where some of the big dogs are at for covered calls just today. Sort this by premium. And you're in the 22.32. Okay. Yeah, it looks like 30 million bucks just went in today at about 11 a.m. Someone collected $1 million in premium on a $30 covered call or naked call on SoFi for February 20th. That's a lot. That is a lot. It's 20th, so it's still a couple weeks now. Let's take a look and see. 70-ish% IV, 23 days till expiration. That's a 0.18 delta. I don't know. I don't hate that at all. If I'm in SoFi, maybe even a little more aggressive than that, trying to get out of that crap, but who knows? Sorry, it's not crap, but I just think Hood's positioned a lot better. If I was doing SoFi right now, it'd only be for premiums. Almost $500,000 at the 26.5. That's for this Friday. So I don't know. Obviously, these people are thinking that SoFi is going to be pretty neutral or down on earnings, but we'll see. That's a good chunk of change for sure. If anyone wants to do the math on that, I don't know if it shows me how many contracts that would be total, but that's a good chunk of collateral or margin for sure to be issued $1.02 million of premium. Sweet. Anything else we want to look up, gentlemen? Anyone want to talk? Raise your hand. Got questions? We'll take a look at some stuff. So you got filled. Did we get filled? Yeah, we got filled on that EOSE. Cool. You can take a look at some of my positions currently in my challenge account. Got a few other accounts. This is the one I share on X all the time. Right now, let's see, can I get this changed to, yeah, total return. Cool. And there's that EOSE that just popped up. There it is. Ready up. Really? Huh. Oh, Jerome's probably speaking. That's why. Already up 24% on that call. All right. Fair enough. BMNU $4 puts. Those are for mid-February. Zach or Lion or someone had thrown that out there. That's kind of an odd one. RCAT, $12.50 cash secured put. Rocket Lab covered calls at 100. Those recently got saved big time. Let's see. I've got, like I said, I have EOSC $20 calls for March. RR $5 calls, and then we've got a backstop on TSOL, which is doing pretty good. That's kind of right now what I've got. I just closed out my TSOL covered calls for Tesla earnings tonight. I like that narrative change for whoever had thrown it in the general chat about more of a AI-ish earnings call. But who knows what in the world Elon could possibly say. Oh, Works. That was Works who put it in there. Now I remember. He's in here. Welcome, buddy. Glad to have you here. Jerome is on the mic. Godspeed, everyone. Jerome is on the mic. We'll see what happens with Mr. Jerome. Thoughts on Tesla TSOL? And we've got it live here. All right. Do we want me to pull that up? I can pull that up. If we want me to pull that up, let me know in the chat. We can also talk about options, whatever you would like. Let's get SPY put up here on the chart. Stand by for now. Let's kind of see what's going on as Jerome is talking. There we go. Looks better. And we can, yeah, we'll just leave it on a 5-minute chart. Nothing wrong with that. Thoughts on Tesla, TSOL, my options play on TSOL. What am I looking at here? Okay. This is Works 2020 through a chat. Nice annotated chart here in the chat. I've got that pulled up. I'm taking a look at that. Looks like he's got $18 puts, the 1684 break even. He's got a January 30th, February 6th. Yeah, I don't hate that. I think TSOL is probably one of the best tickers you can wheel, to be honest. I love wheeling it. I take all my TSOL premiums and I dump it right into Tesla shares. It's kind of what I do with that. I don't like holding lots of TSOL, uh, just simply because of the fees and the dividend realignments and everything else that happens with it. I just try to sling as much options on it as I can. Um, I had $20 covered calls, I think they were. I shared those in trades. I closed those out today before earnings. And then I've just got a backstop trade on it for January of 2027 going as well at like a $14 strike, cash scared put, backstop. So not a lot on it right now. I'll probably wait till earnings, see what happens with that before I open up more calls on it. We shall see. It looks like S&P is kind of just chopping back and forth. I don't know if Jerome said anything good. I don't even really want to listen to him at this point. EOSE holding strong. Let me take a look at that, see how that's going. I know my call was, oh yeah, so we got a big red candle. That's what put my call up 25%, which honestly, I probably should have just closed that. If I was not trying to entertain everyone here and deal with technology, I probably would have just closed that at 25% and got into something else right away. But um, as you can see, it's going right back up. So we'll see. I don't even know. I can check on my phone. Yeah, we're still at about 16% on that one we opened about 7, 8 minutes ago. That's not bad. Um, yeah, pretty strong wall for sure. We should probably be able to see that on the GEX heat map as well. Let me see if I can pull that up just to validate that 18-18-5 wall. Yeah, basing. I know it's crazy volatile. There's EOSE energy stuff going on for sure. Works, dumps all of his TSO back into Tesla. Awesome. Yep, that's what I would recommend doing. Powell not saying much. Okay. Yeah, let's take a look at SPY. Bring SPY back over and see. Oh, that's not it. Cool. SPY. Yeah, kind of just chopping around. Geez, already taking questions. Well, questions typically are when it gets juicy, in my opinion, but really just depends on how he likes to answer it. Let's take a look at that sell wall on EOSE and see if we can validate that wall that you were saying with those heat maps. Kind of a cool exercise we can do. If you guys are interested in the heat maps, reach out to me. Can help it get set up with those. Got I think 1 or 2 more slots. I know it's filled up pretty aggressively in the last week, and then we'll probably shut it down unless we can get a lot more interest. Here is the heat map on EOSE. Get my face out of the way. All right. 18, 18.5. So yeah, not a lot. I mean, there's a little bit there. Obviously, yeah, we looked at this earlier a lot more in February. So be interesting to see what happens with that. Here's back to SPY. Trump's bullying Jerome. Nice. We like to see that, I guess. Interested in the heat maps. All right, works. Send me a message on X or in the general chat. Don't DM me on Discord. There's too many spammers and stuff in Discord. Or you can just simply sign up, yeah, in Premium Tools. So that's what Premium Tools is. It's going to be, I can just show you exactly what it was. But yeah, it's what I've been using. It's quant data, and then it's heat maps, GEX heat maps, and then I also have some order flow screeners that I went in and made. There's more instructions in Premium Tools about kind of utilizing it, how to get into it, access, and things like that. And then there's some other crazy stuff in here. Maybe not more for option sellers, but like dark pools, some like updated news stuff, lots of crazy stuff that I don't use personally when it comes to selling options, but some really cool stuff for selling options, and then a lot of other stuff that I guess could be helpful. Just kind of up to you to explore on your own. So yeah, check it out. If you have questions, let me know. I've been really enjoying. I know Zach kind of brought this into the group. He's been trading with them. He did some back testing on just the heat maps. He wasn't doing any order flow screening, just heat maps, and I think he had like a 98% success rate with his back testing. It was close to perfect. Um, about as close to perfect as you can get. And obviously he's just aggressively wheeling for premium. So just keep that in mind. Let's get back to the chart. We'll see what's going on here. Anyways, how you guys liking the community? If you're liking the community, let me know. Anything you'd like to see different updates? Is there too many channels? Not enough channels? Would you like a channel for something else? How you guys liking these lives? Are they beneficial? What are some topics you want to go over on the lives? I've been thinking about doing just a like 0 to no knowledge to like what everything I know of wheeling, kind of putting together a little workshop for just selling options if we have some beginners in here that kind of want to be steered in the right direction.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. That's one thing. I have a little Discord with friends and like family friends, like a smaller community, and just a lot of people. I think the biggest roadblock or fork in the road is not understanding. Like they want to get to that position, they want to understand what you're doing in your sense, wheeling or just selling options against long term positions. And people are see. I talk to a lot of my closer friends, and they've got sizable positions in whatever name it is, and they're just like kind of scared. It's everybody's first experience with covered calls and selling puts. You're scared. You're like, oh, I don't really understand this yet. Like I kind of have an idea of it, but I'm not too sure. So I think that workshop idea is a good one to kind of just get the ball rolling for people. And honestly, it makes you a better trader as well, because the way I look at it is you learn the most when you're teaching someone something that you're doing. So
Sweet. Yeah, yeah, we can definitely do that. I know I have some material put together already for it, so it's just a matter of doing it. And I'm testing out recording this today. So hopefully the recording goes smooth so we can get that recorded as well for people to play back and look at. But yeah, cool, man. Invite all your friends to this Discord. Let's get some more people in here, learn
I know,
together.
dude. I'm trying to get them into selling options, and they're just it's the mindset. And look, I had the same thing where in the beginning when I first started doing this, and I started talking to you and Zach about it, I was like, man, this is kind of scary. But once you understand what is occurring, and especially, in a lot of certain stocks, like say for example, I've been selling a lot of covered calls on Hood. You get those early morning premium pops when price or liquidity sweeps up. Say like this morning, Hood swept up to like 107 and change, and my contracts went from 117 back up to 150, which was my entry, or like 140. And typically in the beginning, I'd be like, "Shit, man, like that's not good. Maybe I should close out." Blah blah blah. But most times these tend to revert. It's just the bid and the ask are getting thrown around to the left and right. Especially with if you get choosing a liquid contract, sometimes like that's going to happen a lot, and it could scare you out for no reason. Because, for example, mine's the 130 strike for February 20th. So even if it spiked up from 105 to 107, I'll be fine most likely.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of those factors, starting out that are kind of nerve-wracking for beginners. But yeah, glad to have everyone here. We can learn together and get over those obstacles, and kind of figure it out for sure. Couple other just housekeeping things. Well, I've got a few of you in here. We are looking to add one more moderator, maybe two, just depending on it. So if you guys are interested in that, send me a message on X at Hertzy Trades. Trying to think of what else exactly we had to share with you guys. I think that's about it for that. For the housekeeping stuff was just the moderator. Um, let's see here. Looks like Spy's just kind of chopping back and forth. Not a lot going on here. Let's see in the news channel. I don't know. How many of you guys use the news feed? You guys use the news feed? I know it's kind of cool. I like how it summarizes what Jerome's saying right now. Different policies and things. It's a lot better than sitting there watching them, in my opinion. I can just kind of get a good gist of what's going on. Cool. Sweet. Any other questions? We want to pull up any charts, heat maps, order flow, any bad trades, things that we need to get out of, try to get fixed, anything at all. Throw it in the chat, raise your hand. Can probably wrap it up here pretty soon. How you guys liking some of this new technology we're working with? Hopefully it's working properly. We'll see. Cool. Glad you're liking it. Yeah, lots of buyers selling, hashing it out right now. Yeah, for sure. That's kind of exactly what I'm seeing too. I guess we are kind of right on that between green and red on the day for SPY. So we'll see if we can close here as we head into power hour. See what happens for sure. Any other questions, things we want to look at, guys? Let me know. Any suggestions, throw them in the chat. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Hopefully, the technology is working properly, and this is also being recorded, hopefully, as well. We shall see if that worked or not. Um, Kind of an informal one day, just to try out some of the technology. Going forward, we'll try to be a little more formal with these, kind of have the exact topic, things we're going over. Hopefully some of the other mods can also hop in, present, and give us some insight. Um, we'll get that workshop scheduled, kind of talking about Wheeling 101 workshop. Maybe we can knock that out this weekend or something, and I'll obviously get that recorded as well. if the technology's working. So you can view that. You don't have to be here live. Anything else, guys? Throw it in the chat. I'm just gonna take a look at a few other charts here and see what's going on. Rocket Lab up about 2.5% on the day. Let's take a look at the old ASTS, Space Mobile, having a really good day, almost 10%. Wow, broke over 120. I don't know if any of you guys are in that. I should have been in that, but I so overweight in Rocket Lab. I didn't need any more weight in any other space stuff for sure, but they've been just crushing it the last start of the year here, ASTS. Let's take a look at Palantir. Palantir down almost 4% on the day. SoFi, I know we'd looked at SoFi, talked about SoFi. SoFi down 2.5% on the day. SoFi. Tesla earnings today, after hours. Tesla's now green on the day. It's just slightly green, about a little over 0.5% green on the day. That's right. We do have Microsoft Meta as well. I think the rumor on the street was maybe a stock split from Meta. I don't know how true that is. I know I heard something about that. But yeah, definitely some big juggernaut companies, Mag 7 companies reporting this week and today as well after hours. We'll see what happens. Meta up, or excuse me, down, just slightly down on the day, a little bit red. Microsoft slightly green on the day. So yeah, um, kind of see what happens. Sure. I know I will be watching Tesla for sure. I have some coin in Tesla. See what
I had a
happens.
quick question.
Okay.
Yeah, so once again, bringing up Hood, unfortunately, but I wish I could say another name. So as we know, it's been in this, you could say short to medium term downtrend, and I have no problem. Like I've gained the experience with selling calls along the way down, and during midst of chop, really haven't dabbled too much into selling puts. I just wanted to hear what your thoughts were in terms of, say, for example, like you've got Hood sitting at the 200 simple moving average right now, or it's sitting at, we'll say, 104 and change. Do you sell puts in a downtrend? Like, is like, it's easier for the stocks, go down from here than just jump right back up. So that was kind of just like the one thing, but I guess in a way, like if you're convicted on the company and you don't mind owning the shares or the stock at set price, then in a way it's a win-win. I want to kind of hear your thoughts about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I haven't been selling any puts on it currently. Um, my key level in Hood is 100, so we'll see. I wouldn't mind maybe throwing out like some 85, $90 strike cash secured puts on Hood. Uh, just because I've got an odd lot of shares right now. So that's kind of what I'm trying to do. If I'm not gonna buy or sell puts, I'll probably just add shares just so I can get that odd lot closed up to have an even lot so I can sell another contract for covered calls. But yeah, I don't hate cash secured puts on Hood right now. Um, I don't know. I think it's not a horrible idea to be selling puts in a downturn. I mean, that's kind of the idea of it, as long as it's not a falling knife where it's just going to continue its downward. But and then covered calls wise, I've also just kind of been being a little bit more conservative covered calls wise. But yeah, we'll see. Um, my main areas for Hood is going to be below 100 is really when I'm going to kind of take a bigger look at it and see whether I'm going to be selling puts or just adding shares. So that's what I got with Hood. Any other questions? Throw them in the chat. Raise your hand. Take a look and see if SPY's reacting at all more. With Jerome probably almost done talking, if he's not already. I'm not exactly sure. Looks like it's just trying to go green on the day. So maybe we can get a small move here into power hour. Just approaching the 3 p.m. Eastern here. Have any thoughts on Joby? Yeah, I like Joby. I was wheeling it a lot last year, and then I don't remember exactly what happened. Oh, yeah, that's what happened. It ran up to like 21 bucks because I was wheeling it when it was like, I don't know, more between like 15 and 8. So back here more in the beginning of 2025. So what was it? Yeah, about 8 bucks. And then it kind of had this aggressive upside move. And as you can see now, it's kind of starting to form this range here. I'm not a huge TI wizard or TA wizard with the technical stuff, but if I can just go like this and I can just kind of show you guys, I don't know, that those might be outliers up here, but for sure kind of a range in here that it's trading. I mean, not perfect drawings, but I don't hate it here. I mean, what's it at today? 13.5. I mean, I would look at selling covered calls down here, 12, 11 bucks, or not covered calls, excuse me, cash secured puts. But, and then obviously you could go back that up with order flow, heat maps, and any other technical stuff you want to look at. But yeah, I actually, I like Joby. I think it's an interesting company. And one of my, I guess it's kind of funny. I don't know if it's an actual rule, but I tell people it's a rule that one of my rules for investing in any company is they got to do cool shit. And I think Joby meets that criteria for sure. Let's see what else. Premiums, how are premiums on it? We can take a look real quick before we wrap things up. Yeah, definitely more speculative. Lots of regulation. I don't know when or if that day would be where they've got these eVTOL taxis running around. It seems like a pretty niche market, in my opinion, and I don't know how on earth they'd be making money. But and then it's just takes one to hit something and crash and kill people, and who knows. But it's just it's a cool company for sure. Let's take a look at premiums for Joby real quick, just out of curiosity. If we want to be around like a 12-ish dollar gas secured put, I'll pull that up.
Yeah, my whole thesis on it as well, including that whole executive order placed in last fall regarding drones, eVTOLs, counter UAVs, is the funny thing with the stock market is with companies that are pre-revenue versus actual revenue, they tend to correlate differently. And what I mean by this is, you look at I'll give Quantum as the best example for me. A lot of them don't make money at all. And, we saw those crazy multi-100%, 1,000+% runs in them because when it comes to pre-revenue companies, the speculation for revenue, the sky is the ceiling. I mean, for example, with Joby, like, oh, hypothetically, the market perceives it as they can make, a certain amount of money down the line or this much amount of money down the line. But once revenue's kind of set in core and the ball gets rolling, then there are certain expectations which then can hinder the stock up or down. Another example of that was Robinhood, last year. And, the whole big consensus was, or the theory in hand was, oh my God, could they do $1 billion in revenue a quarter? Is it possible? Can they do it? And we saw a huge run during the summer from, the 60s up towards 100, just simply, in my opinion, due to that. And of course, other factors, but that was one major factor. And now, as we kind of baked in now where they're kind of averaging $1 billion a quarter for the last 2 quarters and expecting $1 billion plus this quarter, it's kind of set the tone in a way. So like you said, I don't know when the hell in terms of regulations and litigation, how these eVTOLs will eventually, get the ball rolling and you'll see them in the skies. But, if it starts to hinder towards that, they're improving production Daytona, Ohio factory, they're rolling them out, they're making more partnerships. That'll move the stock. And since it's like I said, it's pre-revenue, shit, maybe they decide to pop higher towards the 20s. And who knows? We'll see.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Lots of things. I'm not an expert on Joby, but that's just kind of some of my initial things that come to mind. I know there's asked in the chat how premiums are on it, so I'll just share that quickly. I have some stuff pulled up here on Joby. Anyways, I just put this out for next Friday, so about 9 days. Cash steered put, selling a put here, Joby. I just wanted to look kind of right around the 0.25 delta is kind of where I'll start when I'm doing any sort of calculations on premium. Um, with that being said, when I'm also doing any calculations on premium, I'm going to look at the IV and then obviously open interest and volume and just kind of see what's going on here. Um, right about 80% IV, so that's going to make me want to backtrack here and just take a look and make sure uh, what's coming up as earnings season is upon us already. And it looks like Joby reports February 25th. So that should be well safe of our earnings date. I don't know if there's anything else with events or anything, or if that's just kind of normal what we're seeing on Joby right now for IV. Uh, like I said, I haven't traded this one in about a year, so I don't remember what it was doing before. But anyways, for example, 12.5 about a 0.25 delta. Last trade here was about 30. We'll just kind of meet in the middle, say like 0.27. We'll throw that into our calculator here and see what we're looking at for Joby premium. So it's expiring next week, 9 days to expiration. We'll put 0.27 in, 12.5 strike price, one contract. Not bad. If we're looking about 87, 88% annualized rate of return, if we're doing that, every 9 days for a whole 365 days, which is not going to happen, but and just about 2% return on our capital for putting up 1250 in collateral. So Joby might be one to consider taking a look at. Like we saw on that chart, we're just kind of range bound right now. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Just kind of this big range here that it's been trading in. So maybe that's even one I'll take a look at. Thanks for bringing that to my attention. Not sure if I'd want to be really holding a lot of it for a long term, but for sure to wheel and deal a little bit. So appreciate whoever brought that up, bringing that one up. That'd be one to take a look at. Beta wheel tracker, yeah, hence the name Beta in it. I've been kind of, I don't know, I've made like 15 different wheel trackers and I just can't find one that I love. I've bought them, I've seen them from other people, I've borrowed other people's ideas. Right now, I'm kind of in using AI to help me out with trying to come up with just a really solid wheel tracker. So it's like I said, it's a beta right now. If anyone has ideas or want to help with that, let me know. But yeah, let's see some stuff in the chat here. Yeah, good to have you try harder. We'll talk to you soon. Appreciate you hopping on here in and talking and raising your hand. Appreciate you, man. Let's go to NASDAQ chart here. It out similar to February of 2025. Being cautious until a follow through day means I have some cash on hand, about 80-20. Yeah, it's always good to have cash on hand. Nothing wrong with that. that's usually what I'm at about all the time is about 80-20, regardless of what the hell the market's doing or who says what, experts are saying, calling what's going to happen. So appreciate you all. Take one last look at SPY here, unless anyone else has anything else they want to take a look at. This is your last chance. SPY is still kind of chopping up and down, just barely green on the day, so barely green. Couple checks coming in here, maybe. Thought I saw someone was typing. Sweet. Any questions, comments, concerns? Appreciate you all for being here. Hopefully you guys are enjoying this. We'll try to be a little bit more formal going forward, just trying out some new technology and trying to get these suckers recorded. So, I know people have jobs and we kind of do these random times so you guys can go back and watch them, use them as a good resource. Anyways, appreciate you all for being here, hanging out. Let's see what happens this last hour of the market. Wishing you guys a great afternoon. Invite your friends to the community. Let's keep selling some options. Anyways, we'll talk to you later, guys. See ya.